I'm back. I'm back from Nova Scotia. It's Dad, he's back.
The new horror movie of the fall.
He's back. It's Gab and Dad, and we're doing our review of the summer's best movies. We've been to a lot of movies, obviously.
Oh, one of them. No.
What?
Just one of them.
One of them. We've been to a lot of movies. We want to tell you which ones we think are the best. So we'll start with number 3. We're going to rank them in from 3 up to 1.
Each.
Each, yes.
Each separate
So
picks.
Gab, what's your number 3?
My number 3 best movie of the summer for me was Inglourious Basterds.
I agree with you.
At number 3?
Yes.
Good, we'll save some time.
Yes.
So I thought this was a nice, not surprise, but it met my expectations. I was looking forward to a good, fun new film from Quentin Tarantino. You got Brad Pitt, Nazis are getting killed.
That's good.
Always good. You know, interesting script, things going on there, some great performances.
Very good at creating tension, a lot of scenes where there was a really palpable tension. Excellent at that.
Palpable, yes.
Palpable. For me, the thing that put Inglourious Basterds in number 3 position instead of 2 or 1 was, I think, a disappointing performance by Brad Pitt.
I disagree with you. I enjoyed Brad Pitt. The reason it was in number 3 for me was I found it a bit too long, and some of the scenes were too self-indulgent, too drawn out, too in love with the clever writing, which wasn't quite clever enough. Yeah,
but an interesting film, and another thing I liked about it, original. There's an originality to it, as you would expect with Quentin Tarantino. It's surprising in many ways. It does not follow an accurate historical script that's been criticized for that reason. I wish it had been accurate,
right.
But I don't think that's really a valid criticism of the film. It's fiction, but it's interesting, original, unexpected fiction, beautifully produced, excellent cinematography, fun to watch. We sat there in our seats gripped by it.
Great.
So that's Inglourious Basterds, number 3.
Number 3.
Number 2?
My number 2 pick for best film of the summer is Star Trek.
No, I don't agree with that. Why?
Well, this is my number 2. Because of how much I enjoyed it. I was surprised. I wasn't expecting anything from this film. I wasn't a particular fan of the franchise. And I was very pleasantly surprised by how engaged and entertained I was. This franchise was really well reinvented for a new generation, people who weren't previously fans. Many generations. I think it has a sweet spot for me, this film, because it's a memory of the 3 generations seeing this movie together.
Yes. You,
myself, and Max. We all saw this together, and we all enjoyed it. And there's a lot to be said for that, for any kind of film, and certainly for a summer film where all different ages can go together and get something out of it. And so it has a very sweet spot for me for this summer. Star Trek.
I liked Star Trek, but the reason it's not on my best 3 is because essentially a lack of originality. It's a formula film. It's a good formula film, and it has some excellent reinvention of the main characters, as we've discussed in our review of it earlier on. But it is a formula film. So my number 2 was Funny People with Adam Sandler, because there was a poignancy and a real sophistication and meaning to that film. It had its problems. Watch our review to see what we say about those problems. But it was very interesting and even occasionally touched on the profound. So I think Funny People with Adam Sandler, which I don't think did very well at the box office.
Did not do well at all.
Not sure why. It was, for me, an excellent film.
Well, at least you're consistent. I remember in our review you said that you think this is one of the best of the summer.
And I continue to think that. By the way, I have to say this. For movies, it was a lousy summer. There weren't a lot of good movies to choose from, in my opinion.
We're going to talk about the worst of the summer in another video. Try to stick to the topic.
There's much more to pick from when you're talking about the worst.
Let's try to focus on the positive right now. And I disagree about Funny People.
She's always saying that to be focused.
Actually, that's not true. I disagree with Funny People in that I enjoyed it at the time, but the way you think about movies, a lot of it has to do with the way you think about it the next day, and if you even remember it a month later. And that was about a month ago, and we're talking about the summer as a whole. And so looking back, that movie doesn't stay with me in any particular way. I remember it as being funny in parts, touching in parts, interesting, and it took some risks.
Yes, it did.
And it had some good performances. But overall, some of the parts isn't there for me. It doesn't stick with me.
Well, I was spoiled by a really clunky and kind of irrelevant ending, I think.
There were several clunky parts. It was too long, and just overall, at this point in the summer, or the summer being over, I can't wait till, it's not that I can't wait till it comes out on video. I haven't been discussing it with any of my friends. It hasn't stayed with me, and that's why it doesn't make my top 3.
But have you been discussing Star Trek with your friends?
Well, no, that's a good point. But I've remembered it. I've still thought about it, and I am looking forward
that's
to
because it's Star
when
Trek.
it comes
it's
out
this
on
huge franchise.
DVD. Well, I mean, for whatever reason, this is just going from the gut.
All right, so now that brings us to the moment you've all been waiting for,
Right.
which is Gab and Dad's pick of the #1 movie of the summer. Now, I happen to know, we haven't really discussed this, but I happen to know we agree on this one. And so why don't you introduce what is Gab and Dad's best summer movie? And it is, the envelope please.
This is the part I've been waiting for.
You've all been waiting for it. Sit down, take a deep breath. Here it comes.
I'm so happy to say my #1 pick of the summer is District 9.
Yes!
And I'm happy you agree with me.
I agree entirely. Head and shoulders above everything else.
I loved this movie, and I partly can't even explain why, but talk about staying with you. This movie, I still feel about it so enthusiastically. If I'm even here, the commercials on TV and I'm in the other room, I come into the room to see the commercial for this film that I've already seen. I really can't get enough of this movie.
Well, it's a great film, and let me say why I think. First of all, originality again. This is a really original film. And you mentioned risk-taking when it comes to, I think, funny people. Risk-taking big time in this film. It was a very gutsy thing to do, and it's very original. But it also has, I think, to use the word profound again, a profound underlying meaning. It's about how people who are not like other people are treated and get along. It's about how the refugees are treated by people whose country they go to. It's about apartheid, how black and colored people were treated by the white apartheid regime in South Africa. And it has a very interesting trick in it in a way. Many of these films about aliens from outer space are about what they do to us. Mm-hmm. This is about what we do to them. Mm-hmm. So I think it's an excellent film. It's a wonderful film. And in some ways perhaps particularly resonated for us because we've both been to Cape Town in South Africa, where District 6 in Cape Town was cleared out of the black and coloured population by the white apartheid regime. And this is obviously, in some respect, an echo of that horrendous historical event. A great film.
Yeah, it's certainly all of that material, all the social commentary and all of the philosophies that are involved in this film, and all of that material that forms the basis of the story is so rich. That alone is just has so much to offer. But in this sci-fi construct, it's just double your pleasure. It's delivered in such an entertaining way. I was riveted by the story. It's unpredictable. I was drawn into these characters, including the main alien character,
yes,
Christopher, who, I mean, you're caring about this vile alien creature, and it's almost like a buddy flick when the two get together, and the action, the effects. This is a $30 million movie compared to Transformers, which we'll talk about in our other video, maybe. It's really quite mind-blowing. And first-time director, the lead, it was his first feature film. I mean, it's just so
he's great,
gratifying that all of this great film comes from this sort of background.
So there you have it. That's Gab and Dad's pick for the summer's best. We both agree on #3, Inglourious Bastards. We disagree on #2. I've got a Star Trek over here, and I'm for funny people, but we both agree wholeheartedly that the best movie of the summer was District 9. If you haven't seen it, go and see it. And now stay tuned, because we're going to do the summer's worst movies. And there's lots to choose from. Lots to choose from.